Okay, so let's get into assignment four. Assignment four is going to be the low key portrait. Now, the low key portrait is the opposite side of the assignment that you just had. You just did the high key portrait, which was an open commercial portrait um, with no shadows, no dark shadows, bright, sunny, colorful, pretty. Most of you did either fashion or beauty. Well, the low key works on the other end of the spectrum. And so, what you're doing in the low key portrait is now you're shooting a darker portrait. And it's a more moody portrait. And what you're going for is what you see here with our model, Mr. Nadar, is this was photographed outside in the afternoon. It's around 5:30. I did this one earlier in the summer for this idea, and I shot Nader. Sun is streaking across. The sun is setting in the west. He's standing outside on the sidewalk, facing the west, slightly turned a bit. And so, no, I'm sorry, he's facing the south. Right side of his face is facing the west. The light streaking across, hitting him on one side. Light hits him on the highlight side of his face, and falls off to the shadow side of his face. Now you'll notice on the shadow side of his face that the shadows go dark, but you can still identify the shape of the collar of his jacket. You can still identify that there is a wall in the background, and that there is, you go from this lighter area over here to this darker area. Another portrait of Nadar, again, outside. Again, this time he's facing north. The sun is coming from the west, hitting him as we look at it, it's hitting him on the right side of his face and falls off into shadow, but on the shadow side, it doesn't disappear into blackness. You can still see features of the jacket, you can see features of his face, you can see the wall, the lights hitting it, like nothing falls off into dead black. On this shadow side, this is a building, this is the alleyway in between the building, and this is some kind of this is one of those trash collection places, where there's a big dumpster. So here you can see some detail in this, and that's what the low key is. You go from highlight to shadow, but in the shadows you see detail. You see a lot of detail. Or you can go thusly. So you've got brown skinned woman against a darker background. Or you can go like this. This is shot inside. This is window light. And this is my friend Sabella. She's a nail artist. She's a nail and tattoo artist. And in her studio, in her tattoo spot, we used the window light coming in the room, the lights hitting her, coming across. And then on the window, she just put up, she had these cool little kind of colored glass things. And I asked her to put two of them up on the window, and the sun comes in and hits them and creates this cool little thing with this green light hitting her face. And on this one, I just pull back a bit, and you see um, the sun's coming in, hitting her. It's creating these cool little light, little specular highlight things, but with color. And then she's got a candle going in the background. And all of that just adds a cool bit of atmosphere to the room. This is just daylight coming through the window and a little candlelight in the room. And this is the cool little thing that we can create. On this one, I'm shooting Mr. Yehuda in the alleyway between these buildings. The sun is hitting this window over his shoulder, and we were walking around doing some shooting. I saw that happening. I knew I wanted to use him in this alleyway for this low-key idea. So we're shooting in there. We've got all these things happening, like we've got some lines happening, some electrical lines happening. We've got lines to his left and to the right. But I move him forward in the space so that none of those lines are intersecting him. The building's hitting him a bit. But what I've done here is I'm shooting everything at a pretty wide open aperture. So it's 5:6, so that he's in focus, but everything behind him falls out of focus. Okay? So you've got some selective focus, shallow depth of field thing going on here. And this one, I did it in black and white just so that you could see that that's a possibility for this assignment. So you could do your images in color, or you could play with a black and white idea and see how that works out for you. Okay, so that's Mr. Yehuda in an alleyway and making the low-key thing happen here. This is Levada, and again, this is window light. This is light coming in through a window and casting this beautiful bit of afternoon light sweeping across her. In the background on one side is she's sitting on a very kind of big easy chair. So that's what you're seeing on the right side of her is just the back of the chair. On the left side, you're just seeing the floor. There's a TV and something else in the background. But again, I've got this. With this one, I'm shooting, the lens is wide open. It goes to 2.8. And so everything in the background really falls off. Like the depth of field is really shallow. Or as folks like to call it now, the bokeh is really really strong, really intense. So depth of field is really shallow, and everything in the background just drops out of focus. Okay, so let's get to the details of this assignment. First off, here's how I want you to think of the low key in the most basic of terms to help you move through this assignment. A low-key portrait is basically this. You walk into a dark room. There's a dark individual in a dark outfit in that room, but you can still see details in the room. I said the room's dark, not black. So it would be, you walk into a room with a brown interior to red interior to a blue interior, but on the darker side, and someone, a darker individual, darker skin color, golden skin, brown skin, darker skin, whatever way you want to think of that, um, is in this dark space, in this dark outfit, but you see detail. So, with that in mind, I've got examples of what that should look like. So, I've shown you some of them. I pulled out some more. So, this is Jamie shot at night with the lights of downtown LA as the thing that's lighting her. She's out at night, she's wearing a dark outfit in a darker space, and all we have is the night light of the city and the night light around that's helping to light this portrait. Okay. We've got the stuff of Nader in the alley, on the street, alley. We've got Brittany on the street with a black backdrop. Sabella in her tattoo / nail studio. Yehuda in the alley. Leveda in-house with window light. Sabella is also lit with window light. Okay, so window light, outside light during the day, during the afternoon, available light at night. These are the possibilities. What you're going to create for this assignment. You are creating 3 images, all right? So, first thing, the lead image will be a close-up headshot like this. I want the headshot to be tight. I want it to be something like this, or something like this, or something like that. Those are headshots. This is even a headshot, okay? It's a headshot in profile, but a headshot nonetheless. I want the headshots to be tight. So, first thing you're doing, lead image, the first image that comes up is a headshot. The second image that I want is a 3/4 shot. That is 3/4. That's not really 3/4, but if you did something like this, it could work. All right. So I want 3/4, and 3/4 goes below the waist, but just above the knee. Okay. So your second shot is a 3/4, below the waist, above the knee. All right. And then your final full shot is full length. So full length is below the knee, and we see the feet, we see the shoes, whatever shoes they're wearing, we have to see them. So I want to see a full length shot of your individual. In a full length shot, your subject could be standing or sitting, but I want to see a full length. In a close-up shot, in a tight headshot, your person could be standing, or it could be like this situation where they're sitting. You could shoot just at eye level, or you could get lower and shoot just a little lower looking up at them. Okay, headshot. Same thing for 3/4. You could shoot eye level or 1-to-1, or you can get lower and shoot that shot. And the same thing for full length. Person, as I said, the person could be standing, sitting, laying, whatever way you want to shoot that person's full body. It is up to you. 3 shots. You are turning in 3 shots, and you're only turning in 3 shots. In closing, you are doing the low-key portrait. You are turning in 3 images for the low-key portrait. The low-key portrait can be shot inside using window light. It can be shot outside in the afternoon with the light coming across. So around this time, it would be a good idea to shoot, say, between 4 and just before sunset, because you want to have sun hitting your subject and lighting your subject. If you're not using sun, then you're using light, you're using night lights in an area, and you have to then be aware of how you play with shadow. If you're using night light, you have to be aware of how you play with shadow, night light, where you use your subject in the space to create the highlight, to create the shadow, what you're able to see in the shadow. This is a shoot that calls for you to plan exactly how you're going to light the individual. I don't want to see anybody shot. I don't want anybody to turn in a photograph where I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, why is this shadow completely black? Why am I not able to see detail in this shadow? Okay? So please think about that. As you're looking at it, as you're shooting, you have to remind yourself that you're going to create a more noir, darker mood, not mode, mood. Your mood is one of suspense, one of drama, one that is a little more, let's say, gritty or on the edge or something like that. But you're looking to do things like this. You're looking for a darker mood as opposed to something up, light, and open. And you've got to look, as you're shooting this thing, you've got to look for the appropriate spaces and the appropriate colors in what your subject is wearing. You've also got to pay close attention to what you do, what you've got going on in the background. I think this is the busiest background, and this is also a busy background. But these backgrounds are also really removed from the model and what I have going on. Like, I've really set it up so that, one, I'm shooting with a really wide aperture. Two, my subject is really removed from this background. Okay? These are the ideas to think about. Turn them in the usual way. You will turn in a description with the 3 images, because you're turning in 3 images: the headshot, the 3/4, and the full length. And you're turning in a description of what you were going for, what your thought process was once you've got this. Because you turn in you will turn in a statement. What I've noticed lately is everyone kind of drifts with the statement. What I've noticed lately is when people do their statement, they're not really nailing their ideas completely in the statement. So try to nail your idea in the statement. Try to nail what you're going to do and what you want to see. And then when you turn it in, another brief statement that says what you've accomplished and what you think we're looking at, or what you think I'm looking at, what you think you're sharing with me. That's it. Hope this is informative. Hit me with questions. Send me your statement. Let's make this happen. Thank you. Bye-bye.